I wasn't supposed to hear what I heard. But secrets have a strange way of slipping under doors, especially in houses where you were never meant to feel at home. It was the day before Christmas Eve, and the Whitlock house was glowing. Warm lights, cinnamon candles, a perfect holiday postcard. I had only stopped by to drop off the dessert I promised for Christmas dinner, something simple I'd prepared after my shift at the library. I was halfway to the kitchen when I heard my name. Not softly, not fondly, sharply. I froze just before the study door, half open, light pouring through the crack. My family's voices carried like they always did when they thought I wasn't worth lowering their volume for. Emery should wear the apron, my mom said. The one with the slogan on it. My sister Violet giggled. Oh, the one that says, "Ask me about my failures"? Perfect. She'll die. My brother, Luke, chimed in. And we'll give her the mic after dinner. She can read her little speech of gratitude. My dad added, don't forget the slideshow. The photos from school, those will get everyone laughing. A pause. A rustle of papers. And then the final punchline. She's always been overly sensitive. Maybe a little humiliation will finally wake her up. Humiliation. Wake me up. My chest tightened, but my hands didn't shake. Not anymore. I stepped back before anyone noticed I had been standing there, dessert forgotten, breath held tight. I walked out of the house quietly, the way they preferred me to be, unnoticed. But this time, they didn't realize what I carried with me when I left. Not dessert. Not guilt. Not fear. I carried the truth. Most stories don't begin with a single night. They begin years earlier, in rooms where we learn to shrink. Growing up, I was the odd one out in a family that loved perfection more than people. My mother, Emery Whitlock, ran a small event planning firm where everything was roses and ribbons and carefully curated smiles. My father, Richard, ran his own accounting office. White shirts, polished shoes, decisions made crisply and without consultation. Violet, my older sister, was the Whitlock princess. Pageants, perfect hair, perfect posture, perfect social media feed. Luke was the prodigy, varsity athlete, student council president, my father's pride. Then there was me. Quiet. Bookish. Not beautiful enough to show off. Not accomplished enough to brag about. I learned early that fading into the background caused fewer problems. When I tried to speak louder, someone always pushed the volume back down. You're too emotional. You don't understand how embarrassing it is when you talk like that. Why do you always dress like you don't care? Small cuts, constantly repeated. By the time I turned 25, I had carved out a quiet life. My work at the city library, my small apartment, my plants, my peace. I kept holiday visits short and conversations shorter. But they never stopped making me the family joke. It was the role they had written for me, and they expected me to play it forever. Until the night I overheard the script for their Christmas spectacle. That was the night everything shifted. I drove straight to my apartment. I didn't cry. I didn't call anyone. Instead, I sat on the couch and opened the file folder I had kept tucked away for months. A folder filled with spreadsheets, receipts, and documents I hoped I would never need. A year earlier, I had quietly purchased a small 2-story building downtown, a building my father's office occupied. I bought it with my savings, a grant, and a small loan, with the help of an attorney who understood two things very clearly. I didn't want my family to know. I didn't want a single special favor for them. My father signed the lease without ever checking who the new landlord was. He dismissed paperwork the same way he dismissed me. For months I said nothing. I simply watched. Late payments. Ignored notices. Requests for leniency written by my father's assistant. Assumptions that the landlord, whoever they were, would understand because Richard Whitlock is a long-time community figure. But I wasn't cruel. I wasn't vindictive. I wasn't impatient, I was simply done being small. So I sat on my couch and drafted 3 documents. A notice of default. A notice of rent adjustment. A formal non-renewal. All completely legal. All perfectly timed. All long overdue. I scheduled a courier for the next evening, Christmas Eve, precisely at the time my family would be arriving at the church for the annual program. Then I turned off my phone, packed a small suitcase, and got into my car. I drove north until the roads thinned and the cold sharpened. By midnight, I arrived at a lakeside rental cabin. Quiet, empty, peaceful. The kind of place where the universe feels bigger and your past feels smaller. While I walked along the frozen lake the next afternoon, my phone, finally turned back on, lit up with calls. 7 missed calls from my mom. 4 from my dad. 2 from Luke. 1 from Violet. And then, a message from my property manager. Documents delivered at 6:45 p.m. Handed directly to Mr. Whitlock. I stared at the screen for a long moment, the winter air cooling my lungs. I didn't feel triumph. I didn't feel revenge. I felt clarity. Around 7:12 p.m., my phone rang again. Dad. I let it buzz once, twice, 3 times. Then I answered. His voice came through loud, angry, frantic. Where the hell are you? Behind him, I heard chaos, murmurs, chairs scraping, my mother whisper crying, Violet demanding explanation, someone mentioning the word eviction. Instead of answering his question, I simply asked, "Did you enjoy my gift?" A beat of stunned silence. Then, "What gift?" I almost laughed, not out of humor, but out of the strange peace that comes when a person realizes they can't hurt you anymore. "I'm not coming home this Christmas," I said quietly. "And I won't be part of any more of your performances." "Emery, what did you do?" "Everything by the book," I replied. "Just like you taught us." He inhaled sharply, as if words were forming but none could survive the truth sitting between us. Then I ended the call. Not angrily. Not dramatically. Just, finally. The next morning, the lake was covered in a clean sheet of frost, untouched and bright under the rising sun. I sat on the porch with a mug of hot tea warming my hands. For the first time in years, Christmas morning felt still, quiet, full of breath instead of pressure. My phone buzzed once, an email. From my father. Short. Professional. Detached. He wanted to discuss the lease terms. I replied with the same tone. All communication must go through the property manager or email. Please do not call again. Clear. Boundary. Simple. I set the phone aside and looked out at the lake, watching the ice shimmer. I finally understood something. Distance isn't cruelty. Silence isn't punishment. Self-respect isn't selfish. Sometimes the only gift you can give yourself is stepping far enough away to finally hear your own voice again. And that Christmas, for the first time, I chose me. Moral of the story. At the heart of this story lies a truth many people learn too late. You cannot heal in the same place that keeps wounding you. Emery didn't destroy her family, and she didn't fight back with insults or rage. She simply chose herself, something her family never allowed her to do. That is the real revenge. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is step away from people who only see you as the family disappointment. Whether it's siblings who mock your dreams, parents who use you as a punchline, or relatives who treat you like the lesser one, you must remember. Your value does not depend on who applauds you. Your voice matters even when others refuse to hear it. You are allowed to step back from toxic family roles you never agreed to play. The truth is, family can hurt you deeper than strangers ever could. And when they do it consistently, you're not running away by creating distance. You are protecting your peace, something sacred that you should never apologize for. If you've ever been like Emery, quiet, overlooked, underestimated, laughed at behind closed doors, this is your reminder. You are not weak for being sensitive. You are not wrong for expecting respect. You are not dramatic for wanting peace. And most importantly, you do not owe anyone continued access to you, especially those who enjoy breaking you down. Healing sometimes looks like walking away. Strength sometimes looks like silence. And victory sometimes looks like choosing a new life where you no longer beg for basic love.